Let me explain how to install Davinci Resolve on Linux in the most easiest and fastest way possible. First, go to Davinci Resolve's official website and download the Linux version. Go and do that right now. While it's downloading, I should let you know that I have tested this method on Fedora Linux and Arch Linux. I'm using Arch by the way, but it should work on any Linux distros. Once you downloaded the zip file, extract it and move the .run file to the downloads folder. This will make your life easier. Then right click on the run file and select properties. Make sure this executable as program is turned on. There is another way to turn on this using the terminal in case you don't have this option. To make this whole process much easier, rename the file to davinci_resolve.run. Then open the terminal and type cd downloads. Press enter and it will take you to the downloads folder. Then type ls to list all the files inside the downloads folder, and here we can see we do have all those files. Now type this command. It will make the file executable. Hit enter and if we check again, you can see the toggle is turned on. Now double click on the file and it should launch the installer. If it didn't, then go back to the terminal and type this command. If you are still having issues, then you should copy these commands with the error you are getting to ChatGPT. It can be a big help. Assuming that you got the installer running, then just like usual press next and install. It might ask you for your password, then type the password and the installation is complete. Then close this and run this command. It may not be needed, but just to be safe, let's run it. Now that Davinci Resolve has been installed, but there are still some things you need to do before you launch the app. Because if you try launching it right now, it won't open. So you have to follow these steps exactly. Go to the terminal again and then use these commands. First, we're going to the folder where Resolve has all the packages. So type this command and hit enter. Now we need to make a folder using this command. This will create a folder named not used. Then we are going to move all the packages that Davinci Resolve doesn't need to this folder. So to do that, type this command. We are moving this because Resolve doesn't need those, and also because of these packages Resolve can't be launched. So all the installation process has been completed, but just to be safe, install this one package. If you are using Arch Linux, then try this command, and if you are using Fedora, then try this command. Basically, you need to install this package, so you can ask ChatGPT for the command for your specific distro. Now finally, you can launch Davinci Resolve. If it still doesn't open, then follow these steps. First, open the desktop icon file for Resolve using this command. Then find a similar line like this and replace that line with this line. Then save it and close it. Now you should be able to launch Resolve using that icon. If it's still not launching, then you probably need to restart your PC. Or you can use a task manager to kill Resolve if it's running in the background. But for most people, I would recommend restarting your PC. And that's how you can install Davinci Resolve on Linux. By the way, if you get stuck in any point, you can just ask ChatGPT for a solution. Thanks for watching. Bye.